Good evening, everyone. How are you? This is Mike from the Student Engagement Team here on another Wednesday evening on a blistering cold Wednesday here in, well, I'm in East Lansing, but in the Lansing area. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Tonight is going to be a continuation of our CTE, Career and Technical Education Month, that we are bringing to you live here on Facebook. You may have seen last week I was joined by Nicole, who is a program improvement manager for technical careers at our West Campus. And we talked a lot about CTE opportunities at LCC, and we talked a lot about the programs, and we got to highlight a little bit of a walkthrough of a short little bit of a tour that we did over at West Campus last Monday. So that was a nice kind of introduction to our program offerings and things that we have going on at West Campus. Tonight, in a little while, I'll be joined by three of our representatives from specific programs that fall within tech careers, one being our aviation maintenance technology, another being automotive technology, and another being the apprenticeship opportunities that are available with LCC. So they'll be joining me here shortly. To start, just a few updates to talk a little bit. I'm going to pull up a website here in the background that I can pull a few dates off of. But just as I started last week, I would like to introduce something called Michigan Reconnect. If you are 25 or older and you do not have a associate or bachelor's degree, the state of Michigan has created this opportunity called Michigan Reconnect. And is an opportunity for you to attend a community college, LCC, for example, either tuition free or at a reduced tuition rate, depending on where exactly you live. So we're getting this question quite a bit about people who are interested in a program or they want to learn more about Reconnect. And their first question is, well, how much is it going to cost? And this is where I live. So one thing that I want to do is talk about what we determine to be in district versus what we determine to be out of district. One of my colleagues is helping me here on the Facebook chat, and I'm sure would be willing to post the link to our residency page where we define what the difference between in-district and in-state live. A student will be classified as in-district if they've lived 4 consecutive months leading up to the first day of classes of their given semester in one of the following school districts: Bath, Dansville, DeWitt, East Lansing, Grand Ledge, Hazlitt, Holt, Dimondale, Lansing, Leslie, Mason, Okemos, Stockbridge, Waverly, Weberville, and Williamston. If your home address lies in one of those school districts, the homeowner, yourself, the property owner, perhaps if you rent, pays a portion of their property tax revenue to LCC. As a result of that, you're considered an in-district student. If you live anywhere else in the state of Michigan, whether it's just outside of, let's say, Bath or Grand Ledge, or it's all the way up in Marquette, Michigan, you are considered in-state, not in-district. And that's how we determine in-district versus in-state. So in-district students have a lower tuition rate. Our current billing hour price based on this year, which is good through this summer semester, is $111 per billing hour. So $111 per billing hour for students who are in district, $222 if you are in state. Even if you are an in-state resident and your biggest concern is money, how am I going to go back to school and afford this? The Michigan Reconnect opportunity is there to hopefully cut that in half for you, or at least close to. A lot of it also depends on your financial aid situation. So there's a lot of things that go into that. And for us to be able to give you a dollar amount up front, we can kind of guesstimate around that. But I would say more than anything, don't let the fact that you might not be in district right away discourage you. This is a fantastic opportunity. The state is investing a lot of money and resource into this. And myself, my team, the fellow teams around LCC, we're all very excited about this opportunity and to bring more students into the workforce through this Michigan Reconnect program. So again, if you're 25 or older and you do not have an associate's or bachelor's degree, you are eligible for Michigan Reconnect. You apply with the state of Michigan on their website, and you should get almost an instant approval. You are required to file your FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, which is available at fafsa.ed.gov. It should also be in the comment section here. And then you're going to start with the community college. So you should indicate which school you want to attend. You will apply to the institution, follow regular admission steps and so on, and then get going. Hopefully we have the summer semester, which for us will begin in May. Hold on, I'm going to get you the exact date. Registration for summer begins March 29th. Classes begin May 17th. So still plenty of time, February to March, March to April, 3 months from today, classes start for summer. So still a lot of opportunity to get going, but it's also important to keep in mind that summer's a fast-paced semester. So summer is not what we consider a traditional semester. It's a little bit shorter of a semester, but the material is still the same. So you're still getting the same content, the same amount of chapters, the same amount of reading and so on that you would get in a normal 16-week semester over a condensed maybe 8-week or 10-week semester in the summer. So keep that in mind, but we would love to have you for summer, but we also understand that a lot goes into summer. So perhaps for some students, fall is a better option to be able to go out and get started. So again, if you're looking at this and you're 25 or older and you don't have that degree, it's free to apply for a Reconnect. It's free to apply to LCC. It's free to file your FAFSA and just kind of see what happens. If you've kind of always thought about going to school to become an electrician or a welder or a fine art photographer or a bookkeeper, a medical assistant, a welder, a digital media producer, whatever it might be, there's a good chance we have that opportunity for you. So I would encourage you to email us, Michigan Reconnect at star.lcc.edu. It's your opportunity to take advantage. There's no better time than the present. We've got opportunities for almost everyone, and this could really be a springboard for someone who wants to get going with their education again and really take advantage of this great opportunity that's in front of you. If you're watching this and you have a significant other, a mom, dad, a brother, sister, whoever next to you that is 25 or older that does not have that degree, give them a little nudge and tell them to go to LCC's website and check out Michigan Reconnect. There's a ton of great programs and opportunities that await. We have some of the coolest labs and technology. And if you were to look back on some of the stuff we went over last week in the precision machining area and different aspects of tech careers and trades, we've got a lot of great stuff happening, and we would love to have you join us and be a part of that. I'm just going to look quickly and see if any of my guests have joined me yet. I do not see them, so we'll just keep going here for a few more minutes and see kind of where they're at. Michigan Reconnect, again, past the FAFSA, you apply to the college, you have to have been a Michigan resident for the last 12 months or more, 25 older at the time of your application. What if your birthday is April 21st? Then apply on April 22nd. Don't apply for it now and give the state the opportunity to tell you, no, you don't meet the criteria. Just wait. Give it that time. Wait until you're at least 25 years old at the time of application. You have to start your classes within 12 months of the time the state approves you. So if you were to apply right now, you don't have to start in the summer. You don't have to start in the fall. You could start in January of 2022, which would be our spring of 2022 semester. There would still be plenty of time for you. So 12 months from the time that you apply, You have to continuously enroll in 6 financial aid eligible credits towards a degree or certificate. So you've got some opportunity there to take your time with it if you want to go on a part-time basis, or if you want to be a full-time student taking 12 credits or more, that opportunity is there for you as well. So it's a really, really great opportunity. I did mention a little bit earlier, registration for our summer semester, not just for Michigan Reconnect students, but for everyone. If you're a student, if you're perhaps a high school student or a parent of a high school student who watches this and wants to get their students involved, registration for our summer 2021 semester begins March 29th, and those classes begin May 17th. And then our fall 2021 semester, registration opens for that on May 10th. Those classes will start sometime the 3rd week of August, somewhere in that neighborhood, as we begin our fall semester. I just got an email, hold on just a second, from one of our presenters. Let me see. Hold on just a second. I'm just following up with one of our presenters here. For some reason, the meeting isn't seeming to work for them. So this happens. We're live and in the moment, and you know, here's kind of where we are. I can assure you that we've had probably every meeting I've ever been in since we've gone virtual. Something has happened, whether it's a camera didn't work or a sound didn't work or something. You know, we're just kind of going with it here. So bear with me for a minute. I just sent another invite, so try this again. Sorry about that. There we go. All right, so I've sent that out again, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully my guests are able to join me. And if not, then we will record this and we'll post it up again, no problem. Oh, here we have one. So let's see if I can't bring Mindy from our aviation program on here and talk for a few minutes. Hi there. Hi there.
Hi, there we go.
How are you? Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know what the hiccup was. I just kept speaking, figuring that at some point somebody would join me. So here we are.
Letting you go with it.
Yeah, okay. I'll let you introduce yourself and kind of tell us who you are and what you do. And we'll just have a quick little discussion about your program.
Great. Well, I'm Mindy Ray. I am the program coordinator of the aviation program. And not a lot of people always know we have an aviation program, but we have a pretty amazing facility. If you see the picture behind me, that is our hangar. We actually have planes. We're at the Mason Airport, Mason Jewett Airfield, about 15 minutes south of Lansing. That's really not that far for everybody who thinks it's in another time zone. It's not. We're really close. And we have some really cool planes. Lots of really great things there. We're a 24-month program. And you were talking about the Michigan Reconnect. Starting in the fall, we already have several students who have been approved for that, who are going to be starting with us in the fall. So that's
awesome.
Exciting.
Great. So we are here because February is CTE month, and we are trying to showcase some of our career and technical education programs. Because aviation is not technically on campus, being down in Mason, it does kind of go unknown sometimes. What can a student who's watching this, who maybe has an interest, they see a plane, they see the hangar, oh, that's really cool. Maybe they really love Clavon's pizza and they just want to go to Mason all the time. If I were a student and I was interested, what would I study and what would I leave LCC with if I was interested in aviation?
Well, basically, you're going to learn everything that you need to know in order to pass the Federal Aviation Administration's, the FAA, their exam requirements in order to take their exam to become an airframe and power plant mechanic. We are actually broken up into 3 different sections. We have a section where we teach people the basic stuff, just that everyday stuff that you're learning planes, you're learning fittings, you're learning FAA policies and procedures. Then we teach the airframe items. And in that section, you're learning hydraulics and pneumatics and instruments. You're learning composites. I mean, you're learning how to work with things like Kevlar and carbon fiber and your landing gear and all that, all the stuff that makes the planes work. And then the final section, we teach students the power plant, and you're learning engines. You're not only just learning engines, you're taking them apart and you're putting them back together. And then they need to run. So we are doing, so it's the complete scope of getting you ready to get your FAA license so that you can start a job anywhere in the country. You can get your license. When you're done with the program, you're eligible to test for your FAA license, and it's good for the rest of your life, good anywhere in the country you want to go to. And you're going to be looking at starting wages, low end about $45,000, high end about $60,000. And that's just the starting wage. That's before overtime, anything like that.
So how employable will I be? Like, what is the market for an aviation maintenance tech? And, am I going to get a job, or is it just going to be one of those things where I go to school, I learn this, and then I, sit and wait for that phone call? How employable am I? And what do you, and not so much you personally, but what does the program do to help students get jobs?
Well, you're absolutely employed as long as the students complete the program successfully and they take their FAA exams. Now that's key, because you have to take your FAA exams to get your AMP license, your airframe and power plant license. You will be employed. The market is such that there's no reason at all for you to not get employed. Now, we did see a change. There has definitely been a change in the past year as far as who is hiring, because the airlines aren't doing nearly as much hiring this year or throughout the last year. But you know who is hiring? A lot of cargo. A lot of, I mean, we've all been shopping online. Those packages have to get somewhere. So you have a lot of cargo operations that are going, they're just super busy right now. And then we also have a lot of the other companies that are organizations that have been hiring have been those organizations that what they do is they work on the planes, like corporate planes, private planes, things like that. Because what happened is when a lot of people quit flying last year, they started putting their planes in to get repairs done and their annuals and stuff like that they had put off for a long, they put off. It just didn't have the time to do it. So now they start putting them in. So you have a lot of different companies right now that they've been really busy because they've had all this extra business come in. So it just, the business shifted some, but it's still busy. There's still an AMP mechanic. There's still an aircraft mechanic shortage. I did a random search for a student the other day, and we came up with 1,000 jobs online.
Oh, wow.
Just open right now.
And this is an opportunity to go, I come in, I take my classes, I take my FAA test, I pass it. I can pretty much go wherever I want. Is that true for the most part?
Pretty much, as long as there's a place that they're having planes. I mean, we have students, a lot of our students, when they graduate, there's a lot of companies that like to come and recruit our students because they've been very pleased with what we have. So a lot of our, those students are very pleased with their education. So we have a lot of students who like to stay in Michigan. So, we may find them anywhere from Battle Creek to Escoda to Detroit. We also have a lot of our recent graduates that go places like Colorado, Tennessee, Illinois, but it's really wherever the students want to go. That, I mean, where there's an airport and they're doing maintenance. If they're hiring, there is no reason you can't go. The FAA exam, I mean, your FAA license is good anywhere in the country you want to go to. Like I said, it's a one-time requirement that the FAA has, good for the rest of your life. In a lot of cases, it's recognized throughout the world as well. So students, we do, you know, we have someone who graduated a couple years ago that they've been working in Dubai. So,
wow. So perhaps someone watching this who woke up this morning to let their dogs out like I did, and it was -11 on their phone, could look at this and say, this is my ticket out of here. This is how I can move to, you know, warmer climates for a while. So
Honolulu sounds nice. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. I was thinking maybe like Tampa or something, but Honolulu, yeah, sure. So my last question for you now, my team, my colleagues and I do a lot of college fairs, college nights, career nights, things like that. And we get two common questions about aviation, and I'll ask you and let you give the official response. Number one, do I get to fly a plane? And number two, what if I want to be a pilot? What would I do? How could LCC help me if I was to want to be a pilot as well as learn the academic side of the maintenance and things like that?
Well, unfortunately, we no longer have a flight school. So once upon a time, LCC did have a flight school, but it was closed down about 11 years ago, I believe is the right time frame. So if somebody wants to be a pilot, that is a different direction they're going to need to go to. Typically, you know, and then we talk about, you know, we'll push them towards that direction, but that's not anything we can help them with, really. They're going to need to go, depending on if they want to do commercial, they're going to need to go to a college typically that has that, or there's private lessons actually right next door to us. And
one thing I've always said is, you know, if you learn how to fix the plane and you learn the maintenance side, you can't ever lose that, right? So if you wanted to then move on to, you know, some of our four-year universities that have an aviation school, for example, you know, you can't lose what you've already got with us, right?
Absolutely. And, you know, for a lot of things, I mean, anyone, and this is one thing for people who want to go and get their private pilot's license. A lot of people like to do that. You can't even work on your own plane unless you're licensed with the FAA. You know, it's to have your AMP license, you know,
sure.
So it's not like us where we have a car and we can go out and we can change the oil, things like that. That's, you know, we're allowed to do that. But if you have a private plane, you cannot work on it. You have to hire someone to work on it who has the AMP license.
Great. Mindy, I appreciate your time so much. We're going to post in the comment section here on this Facebook feed a link to the aviation program specifically. And if we get any questions, I'll be sure to send them your way.
Great. Thanks, Mike.
All right. Thanks for joining me. Bye.
Bye.
The aviation space down in Mason is really awesome. When we had a new staff member join us about 2 years ago or so, our team went down and took a tour, and we got to walk through the hangar and see some of the stuff that our students get to work on. And it's really, really cool. Next, we have Marv from our Aviation Maintenance Technologies program. I'm going to have him join me here in just a second. Hi there. Oh, he's connecting. So, hi there.
Hey, are you Mike?
I am. How are you?
I'm good, Mike.
Good. Thanks for being safe in the lab there with your mask on.
I can go in the classroom and take it off. So
okay. So we're you're in the auto lab right now, aren't you?
I'm in the auto lab. Yeah, I have.
Okay.
I have a class that's actually going on right now.
Okay,
Oops.
all right.
Sorry, I lost you.
Nope, we're here.
There we go. Sorry.
Okay. So you are here to tell us about the automotive maintenance technology offerings at LCC.
Correct.
So let's pretend for a minute that I'm a student. I'm interested. I like cars. I like trucks, whatever. What can I learn at LCC? And then what can I do with that education?
Okay. All right. So can you hear that furnace running?
Not really.
Not
No.
really?
No, we're good.
Okay.
We're good.
So if you were a new student coming in and wanting to be an automotive technician, what we would learn is we learn 8 different areas, sometimes 9 or more of automotive related repair. So we can learn how to be an automotive technician where we're going to be repairing or fixing vehicles. So we could be doing diagnosis work on engines or drivability type situations, or we could be doing brakes or alignments, working on automatic transmissions, things along those lines. So, if you were to come to see us here as well, you don't need any tools to be here. We provide all the tools for you. Our curriculum is pretty much about 30% lecture and about 70% hands-on.
Oh,
So you do get your hands dirty, and that you have
Great.
to get your hands dirty to be a good automotive technician.
which is probably what a lot of students look forward to the most when they enter a program like this, I would guess.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely.
What if a student came in, got the degree,
Yep.
what type of job prospects would they be looking at, maybe locally or regionally at least? And does your program, your department do anything to help students get those jobs?
Yes. So jobs or job availability right now for automotive technicians is really great. A lot of demand for that. I have people calling quite often, or a lot, just looking for technicians. They had a pretty hard time finding technicians a few months ago, and they still need technicians now
Okay.
as well. So in the greater Lansing area, kind of like, Clinton, Ingham, Eaton, Livingston, Shiawassee, all these places around us, students shouldn't have a problem finding a job someplace being an automotive technician. We go wider than that, Michigan and regionally. There can be other places where they could go if they get a degree. There's some places that do require a degree, an associate's degree.
Mhm.
So those would be places like UPS is a place where, not delivering packages, but working on their vehicles.
Mhm.
Where you could go, sometimes Roush Racing down in Livonia, they have openings as well, and in other places around there for their facilities. So being, coming into this program, it's a high demand program. So we usually don't have any trouble finding students jobs. Most students have a job before they're ever done.
Oh, wow, great.
With the program. Very few don't have one.
Great. So another question a student might ask, what vehicles do we work on a day-to-day activity in the auto lab? Is it our cars? Is it your cars? Is it the dean's car? What are we working on in there?
Yep. The first 2 were correct. We can work on our cars, the automotive program's cars, and you work on your cars. Those are the cars that we like to work on. And we won't work on the dean's car, but we definitely work on all those cars. So and probably for the most part, we work on students' cars. They always have something that they need done to their car that fits within the class that they happen to be in.
Okay.
So with that, that's probably what we do the most. That than our instructional vehicles.
So no tools are required. So a student's going to have everything they need when they come in.
Yep.
What's the typical, well, I know you said it was 70-30, but is that, do most students take like a full-time course load in automotive? Is there a lot of part-time students? What's the typical schedule like in terms of a semester for a student?
Well, it kind of varies. We have both students,
Okay.
either part-time or full-time students. Excuse me. So let's say a full-time student, we'll go that route first maybe. So typical full-time students, to get there roughly about 12 credits that they need to get a full-time load, maybe to meet financial aid requirements and things along those lines.
Sure.
They'll probably be here maybe 2 to 3 days a week, but not for the whole day. Maybe a couple of those days they might be here from maybe 8 to 5. And the other 2 days they could be here, either 9 to noon or 1 to 5, depending upon what classes that they have to take. We do have night classes available too that we have for students. Depending upon the student again, some of them do come to school part-time because, they have a job, they have family obligations. So they might only take maybe 1 class, maybe 2. So they might come just a couple days a week. Most of our classes are kind of broke up with 1 day in the week. Let's say Thursday, just for use of a day, could be our lecture day. So they might only be here a couple hours. And then that was Tuesday. So then Thursday, they could be here for 4 hours for some lab time.
Okay.
So,
so if a student is watching this, or a parent, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, whoever is watching this, and they know that someone next to them or their kid or maybe even their mom or dad has always wanted to learn about, being an auto tech, for example, or something like that. What would you say to that student who's maybe interested, but not sure if school is the right place for them to learn that?
Okay. Well, they can always come down and I'd be glad to give them a tour.
Great.
To show them around the automotive program, show them what they would be doing, show them the equipment and things that we have here, which would be related to equipment, the same type of equipment that they're going to work with when they get a job out in the field.
Okay.
It's kind of traditionally a little bit, not quite traditional, but a lot of technicians start out with a journeyman technician, if you will, and learn that way as they're kind of working in a dealership or independent repair facility. That works okay. It kind of depends upon that journeyman or that technician with some skills, how they kind of teach you there. So, to really be able to be pretty proficient at diagnosing vehicles, you kind of have to know how some different systems work and to use the equipment that you need to use to do that diagnosis. So with us being here at school, you'll definitely get that. So that way it will make you more successful when you do go out into the field.
Great. Awesome. So I always like to add a little bit of a personal touch to this. So tell us a little bit about what brought you to be an instructor at LCC and maybe what your background in automotive work is a little bit.
Okay. Excuse me. Before I came here to LCC, I worked at a dealership for about 16 years before this. And with that, I was a technician there. Worked on some heavy repairs. So heavy repair are things like engines and transmissions, rear axles, things along those lines. So from there, I had some apprentices that worked with me back then. And I always kind of liked that, of having that person there to try to, teach them how to work on cars the correct way so they can make some money. So at the dealer, I was a shop foreman there for a while and did that. And an opening kind of opened here at LCC, so I was kind of interested in that. So I applied, and I got the position. And 23 years later, I'm still here yet.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize you'd been here that long.
So yeah, I've been here for a little while.
Great.
And still enjoy it very much. When I'm in classes like this, You know, that's the most enjoyable time that I have is working with students and, you know, helping them to become good technicians.
Great.
So they
So
can make
one, oh, go ahead.
success. No, you're good.
Right. No, I was just going to say the one thing I love that you find specifically in a lot of our tech career programs is that the people who are teaching the classes can tell you what the job is like because they've been there. And you're a
Yeah.
great example of that, having spent 16 years doing the work and now teaching the work. You can tell them this is what your day is going to be like. And this is, you know, how things are going to change as the industry changes and things like that, which I think is really great.
Yeah, that's true. That does make a difference in a lot of places out here, like you mentioned, that, you know, that, like you said, you know, things, you know what it's like out there, so you can tell them what it's going to be like before they get there, to kind of get them ready. And especially for industry changes, like you mentioned, you know, in our area, there's a lot of big changes happening right now. You know, we hear a lot about electric vehicles and autonomous vehicles. So,
Oh yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, that's stuff that they're going to be working on for sure. And we have those types of, you know, we have that embedded in our current classes, and we have, you know, special classes and advanced certificate that deals with that. So
Awesome.
try to keep up with the new stuff too.
Which is probably extremely difficult because what you teach today, something new is going to come out, you know, next month, next week, whatever it might be.
Very, very true. Very
Great.
true.
So we're gonna, my colleagues and I are gonna post the link to some of your programs here online. But if there's anything else you want to share, feel free. But we really appreciate having you on tonight. This was great.
Okay. I'm not sure what else we could share.
Okay.
Maybe we're an accredited training facility or program.
Okay. Okay.
From the ASC Education Foundation. So sometimes that's, well, not sometimes, that's a good thing, because then that kind of, you know, gives us some direction a little bit as far as what we need to teach. So, you know, old stuff we don't teach anymore. We haven't. So we keep current with current type systems and programs. So
Okay.
that's a pretty big thing, because we don't want to teach, you know, people on how to work on cars back in 1980, let's say, or
sure. Yeah.
Even though 2020, 2015 and on. So.
Yeah. So you want to have, you know, the newest of the new or close to the new.
Yep, close to.
So that when they get to the dealership or the repair facility or wherever, they know what they're using because they've used it with us already.
Yep, correct.
Awesome. Correct. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Like I said, we're going to post a couple links to tech careers in general, but also some of the automotive stuff on the Facebook feed tonight. And if we get any new questions, I'll definitely relay them to you.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great night.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, so we had two great guests this evening. My third I do not see out here, so we're going to call it a wrap for those two. But if you were tuning in, very eager to learn more about apprenticeship opportunities, I will do my best to bring that to you, and I will hopefully be able to record something and get it posted very soon. So just to kind of recap, we had some great discussion about both our aviation maintenance and our automotive maintenance technology programs at LCC. Those are both great opportunities for students to come in, get some knowledge, earn a degree, a certificate, and go out and get a job almost right away. As Mindy said, and as Marv said, students are getting job offers before they're done. So it's nice for them to know that all their work has paid off. They are very marketable. They are very employable. Oh, hold on. I have just a second. My apprenticeship person is here. Hold on. Just a second. Let's see if this link will get her on now that I don't know what is going on with technology tonight, so please just bear with me. Maybe it's the frigid temperatures outside. You know, maybe technology didn't have a Valentine get them anything. I don't know, but it's not been our friend this evening. So we're live. We're in the moment. We're just kind of winging it. We're going to see what happens here. See if she can join me in the next couple of minutes. Oh, here we go. All right, let's see. Hi there.
Hi, Mike. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing all right. You know, the tech
Good.
issues just keeps it all interesting, right?
You know, as I've said on these sessions, I don't think I've been in any Zoom or WebEx or Skype meeting where someone's camera didn't work, the audio didn't work, they got the wrong link, whatever. But you know, we're here. So here we are.
We made it. That's what's
Yes.
important.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. So I'll let you introduce yourself and kind of just briefly introduce what your role is at LCC, and we'll just have a quick little conversation.
Sounds great. So I'm Kathy Smith. I'm the Interim Trades Technology Services Administrator, which is a really fun and fancy way of saying I work with apprentices and other technical career students seeking employment. Our little group on West Campus, like I said, we do everything apprenticeship related in terms of helping students get started in their apprenticeship, helping employers connect with students seeking apprenticeships, things like that. So we really are the one-stop shop for apprenticeships at LCC, although we do have some folks in HHS. They've got an apprenticeship program over there for medical assistants, but anything tech careers, that's us.
Cool. So for someone who's tuned in here and says, what the heck is an apprenticeship? I don't even know what that means. Tell us a little bit more about what that means at LCC specifically.
Absolutely. So an apprenticeship is just an agreement between an apprentice or student, employee, all that good stuff, and their employer, in which the employer provides the apprentice with a skilled mentor who's going to help train the apprentice to become also skilled in that particular occupation. There are two key aspects of an apprenticeship. One is related technical instruction, or RTI. That's what LCC helps out with. That's your classroom learning. It's your theoretical knowledge, all that good stuff. I saw Marv was on here a little bit ago. He referenced Apprentices, which was great.
Yep.
But he would be somebody that we actively partner with, and the student, the apprentice, would be working with, again, to gain that theoretical knowledge. On the flip side, there is the on-the-job training or on-the-job learning, which is the apprentice going to work 40 hours a week each week with that employer. They're under the supervision of a mentor, oftentimes a journey worker, who is someone who, to keep it simple, is really highly skilled in their profession. And so that apprentice, like I said, is going to work every single day. They're learning the skills while they're on the job, as the name implies. And the neat thing is what the student is learning in the classroom and what they're doing on the job are reciprocal, in the sense that whatever they're learning in class is typically really closely related to what they're doing on the job, and vice versa, which really lends itself well to students succeeding in the classroom as far as LCC is concerned. Typically, we see a lot of 4.0s from our apprentices. Last semester, nearly 80% of the grades earned by apprentices were a 3.5 or higher. Again, it's just the nature of the fact that what they do in the classroom really connects well with what they do on the job. But like I said, those are the two key things when talking about what exactly is an apprenticeship. You can muddy the waters a little bit talking about what a registered apprenticeship is, what a non-registered apprenticeship is, what an industry recognized apprenticeship is. But we might want to keep it a little simple for the 15 minutes we've got.
Sure.
One thing I would say is that a lot of people use apprenticeship and internship interchangeably. That's a common misconception, but there is a few key differences in the fact that apprenticeships are typically a longer term arrangement, whereas an internship, I did a couple internships in college where, you know, it's typically only a couple of months. It's more of an exploratory thing. And sometimes there's some relationship to what you're doing in the classroom and what you're doing on the job, other times not so much. So those are a couple of key differences. But like I said, a lot of folks tend to think they're the same thing, but there are some pretty drastic differences.
So I'm trying to think how I want to word this for a second. If I see this and what you're saying just speaks to me, and I want to be an apprentice at an automotive dealership, for example. What do I do? Do I call you? Do I call the department? Do I call Toyota or Subaru and say, hey, I want to be an apprentice. How do I do this? Like, how does the whole thing start?
So actually, that's kind of the nice thing, but also a little bit of the challenge with apprenticeships is there are completely different ways that you can start off. We have students come to us all the time, current LCC students, prospective students asking, you know, hey, I'm interested in apprenticeships. What do I do? And there's some great resources out there like apprenticeship.gov. They have a really handy apprenticeship tool where you can search based on location, industry. If you have a particular employer like Toyota that you want to see if they have an apprenticeship open, you can search that way. There's also myapprenticeship.org, miapprenticeship.org. They have some great resources as well. Or if you want to give us a call at the department, that's perfectly fine because we have an online job board. We have connections with industry where we hear about apprenticeships. Those get posted internally to LCC students. And from there, LCC students are free to apply to those. And we've had some successful candidates where they talked to us and then we connected them and said, hey, here's an opportunity. It fit for them, it fit for the company, and they moved from there.
Awesome.
On the flip side, sorry.
No, go
like
ahead,
I said, there's a lot to say. On the flip side, a lot of students do go directly to an employer. And then the employer already has an apprenticeship program set up. The prospective apprentice works for them for maybe a year or so just to get their feet wet. And then they apply for an internal apprenticeship opportunity and then they come to us from there. So a couple different ways to get going.
So if I'm an employer and I have a student or an employee, I guess I should say, who really gets it, is really great in the field, but just doesn't have the, I'll say textbook knowledge, quote unquote. Would I, as an employer, also reach out to you and just say, hey, Steven has been working for me for the last 6 months. He's really great. I know he's going to be a great blank, but he misses that book knowledge, that, the book part of it. Would an employer reach out to you and say, I want him to be an apprentice, or is that kind of how that would work? And then do the employers typically help the students with the cost of the education?
Yeah, so I'll answer the first part of your question with a simple yes. A lot of the times employers will say, we've got a great candidate lined up. We really just need help getting this apprenticeship program off the ground. So in that sort of instance, yeah, go ahead and give us a call. We are happy to tailor curriculum however you need it in terms of, we typically start off with a certificate or degree program that LCC already offers. And then our staff collaborates with the faculty in that particular program area to add a class here, subtract a class there, to make sure that the program is tailored specifically for what the employer and the apprentice needs. So that covers the RTI, or the related technical instruction component. Then it would be on the employer to talk a little bit more about the on-the-job training and what sort of tasks their apprentice will be doing while they're at work. And that'll also help us kind of determine what route we should go in terms of fine-tuning the curriculum. But there again, if it's a registered apprenticeship program, that changes the process a little bit. Then the U.S. Department of Labor gets involved. But the short and sweet version is yes, go ahead and give us a call and we're happy to tailor any sort of curriculum to an employer's needs. The second question talking about, is the employer going to help the apprentice with the cost of coming to LCC? The answer is oftentimes yes. The overwhelming majority of apprentices are sponsored financially by their employer. Sometimes that's a reimbursement program where we have a couple of employers who reimburse according to the grade that their apprentice gets. So kind of dangling that carrot of, we'll reimburse 100% if you get a 4.0, that sort of thing. Other employers are like, nope, we will just foot the bill up front and that's great. But the short answer there again is yes. Typically apprentices do have financial help, which is great because you're not paying for classes, or if you are, you're probably getting reimbursed on the back end, but you're also going to work 40 hours a week. So you're getting paid for those 40 hours. So it's really a win-win for the apprentice.
Absolutely, yeah, because some of them may be in the position and have an interest in seeking the educational side, but not have the resources to do so. May not be able to afford the tuition, or, you know, even with financial aid, whatever it might be. So to know that there's employers willing to provide that resource is really tremendous.
Absolutely.
One of my colleagues is on the non-camera side of this, working the Facebook chat. Can you just give me those two websites? I thought one of them was miapprentice.org, maybe, but those two websites you mentioned, and we're just going to post them in the comments here so people can see those.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first is apprenticeship.gov. That's through the U.S. Department of Labor.
Okay.
And then the state of Michigan also, or Michigan as a state, has a website as well, which is myapprenticeship.org, I believe.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll definitely make sure we get those posted here so that people, as they're watching this, if they want to go out and look for one in the Lansing area or with a specific employer that they're interested in, to learn more information, to see
Absolutely.
that there. So I always, you may have heard me talking to Marv, but I like to ask kind of what brought you to this position, maybe what your background is like that brought you to work with apprenticeships at LCC.
Yeah. All right. Unlike the other two who have presented tonight, Mindy and Marv both have quite a lot of professional experience under their belt. I'm a bit more of a spring chicken on this one.
Okay.
I started off, like I said, I did a couple of internships in college. I started my career interning underwriting insurance, which seems like an odd way to get to where I am. But I started by underwriting manufacturing risks. So then this opportunity opened up at LCC, and my degree was in educational psychology. So it was really a great marriage between the two. Last year, I started as the work-based learning coordinator, and now here I am as the interim administrator. So it's been a pretty short trajectory, but it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, and this kind of gives you an opportunity to work with, and I'm just making this assumption, but multiple tech career programs, not just a single program. So you could possibly have someone in automotive or welding or something else. Is that?
Yeah, that's correct. So we have programs in construction, welding, mechatronics, HVAC. We're starting something in automotive. We're also, like I said, we have a program in HHS. They tend to run that a little bit separately, but there again, it's an apprenticeship program. And we've also had some interest in an insurance apprenticeship. So we're really looking to expand, which an insurance apprenticeship would kind of bring things full circle for me personally, but especially since Lansing is such a hub for insurance providers, that'd be a great opportunity because, like you alluded to earlier, apprenticeships are a really inclusive and equitable way to get certain people into the workforce and get them highly skilled. And it's a great long-term workforce solution. You know, everyone talks about the skills gap and things like that, and apprenticeships are a great way to help with that. It's not a Band-Aid fix. It's definitely a long-term thing, but definitely a great way to address any sort of workforce development, turnover issues, things like that, or just, you know, folks are getting ready to retire and you want to make sure that you're transferring that knowledge and expertise to the next generation of workers.
Yeah, I always, you know, I've always encouraged people that if your employer, my wife has a lot of family that's worked for GM, and one of her uncles got his associates, bachelor's, master's, and his PhD with financial assistance from GM. And I've always said, you know, if you have an employer who's willing to put the time and energy into making you more successful, take full advantage of that. You know, why wouldn't you? You know, why it's just a tremendous opportunity. So thank you for joining me. I learned quite a bit myself here about these opportunities. But just in closing, if there's anything you want to add about CTE month, about apprenticeship opportunities, anything of that nature, go for it.
All right, sounds good. Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me. It's great to be here and to hopefully talk a little bit more about apprenticeships and get people excited about it. The big thing I would say is if people have questions, go ahead and reach out to me. You have my email. If you want to put that in the chat, that's fine. Typically, I'm pretty responsive to email, but if people have questions, just go ahead and reach out. Apprenticeships may not be the right solution for certain employers or certain individuals, but we're happy to explore that with them. Like I said, it's a great opportunity for folks, especially right now, you know, unemployment's high and things like that. So if you can get the opportunity, like you said, to start reskilling and have an employer really invest in you and vice versa, We do see a lot of apprentices stick around and be really happy in their positions at their company because there has been that mutual investment on both sides. So there again, it's a great long-term solution for the apprentice. Obviously, a lot of front loading of the benefits, but the employer gets a great payoff in the end too.
Yeah.
So like I said, the big thing would just be feel free to reach out to me personally if people have questions, or go ahead and check out the website. If you just search apprenticeship, our office will pop right up. I have a couple other colleagues. One, his name is Win. He focuses on IT and electrical apprenticeships. So folks who are interested in that, feel free to reach out to him. His information is on the website. And our other colleague, Rhonda, she works with the line workers. So
Awesome.
there again, we've got a great little team, great little group on West Campus, and we're happy to help however we can.
Great. Awesome. Thank you. We've put your departmental information in the chat here. So hopefully there's a lot of people checking that out. But I thank you for joining me, even with I don't know what was happening with the link saying I wasn't here, but I'm here. So whatever, we made it.
Also that ends well.
Yeah. So thank you. We appreciate it very much and have a great night.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mike. Have a good one.
Thank you. So we ended up 3 for 3. It looked like we were going to be 0 for 3 for a little bit there, but we had a great discussion on apprenticeship opportunities, automotive maintenance technology, and aviation maintenance technology. Thank you for watching. If you're 25 and older, go apply for Michigan Reconnect if you don't have that degree. I know you're probably tired of hearing me say that, but I really do mean it. There's great opportunities for you. I know that this is corny, but one of my favorite bands is Rage Against the Machine. And in a song, they say, it has to start somewhere. It has to start sometime. What better place than here? And what better time than now? Why not? Do it. If you're 25 and older, take advantage. The state is taking a chance on you. It's time for you to acknowledge that chance. Go out, get that degree, get that certificate, and show us what you can do. So thank you for joining us.